Ayo, Ashleigh Monet here. Have you heard the news? Create This Book 3 has gone global. Yes, I am talking about what is now the largest art collab on YouTube. Started by Di of Aussie Crafter, this copy of Create This Book 3 has been making its way around the world. It's been passed through numerous talented hands already, with so many more to come. There will be 50 artists of us all together filling this one book. But now, it's in Colorado, and it's my turn. I received the book from my gal pal, Creative Paula. Anyone even a little bit familiar with my channel knows that I love Paula. She's an incredibly talented crafter, and you should see what she does with Create This Book 3 on her channel, which will be linked in the description, by the way. She sent this baby all the way from Ecuador. Smells like international travel. She even sent along some cute little Ecuador goodies. All right, let's get into this book. The anticipation is killing me. So rule number 1, I've got to add my signature to this title page along with everyone who's had the book so far. I think I'm going to use green. No one's picked that yet. And where, oh, where to write? You know what? I'm getting good vibes from this corner right here. Ashleigh, Monet, XO. Sweet, simple, done. Rule number 2, I have to make my mark on the map, which shows the book's travel so far. Look at where it's been. Right about here should be Colorado in the US of A. Beautiful. Okay, so if you've been following this collab, you'll know each artist completes one prompt that is assigned to them and one prompt of their choosing. Let's start with the prompt Paula assigned me. Create a mythical creature. Draw your own mythical creature. So Paula said she chose this prompt for me because she knows what a fan I am of Harry Potter, which, so true. So let's start there. Let me use a Harry Potter creature as my base. There are so many great ones to pick from. I'm gonna go with Fluffy, the 3-headed dog, also known in Greek mythology as a Cerberus. Now to change it up, I want it to be a cat instead of a dog for obvious reasons. And personally, I think instead of 3 heads, I'm gonna go for 2. Definitely not a choice I'm making just to make less work for myself. So we're starting with a Cerberus, taking it down to 2 heads, making those cats, and I wanna add a 3rd element. I'm thinking a classic mythical creature. Let's go with a dragon. Yes, let's do this. Starting with my micron, let me get these cat faces laid out. We're gonna make them look just vicious, deadly, with the forked dragon tongues and all. They'll have those bumpy reptilian throats. The tricky part of this one was definitely deciding where to put scales and where to put fur. There must be a balance. Wings, she definitely needs wings. I guess it's a she now. And she is gonna have this wiggity whack tail that's part scales, part fluff. And now color was another consideration for me. Like I needed a color that worked for all 3 components of the creature. Of course, at first I was inclined to do black, but the background's gonna be really dark. So instead I chose white. So I'm starting by laying out all of these different textures with a very light gray alcohol-based marker. And a little bit of colored pencil will really help shape these into proper looking scales. And suddenly with these white lumps and bumps, I'm starting to see Falcor from the Neverending Story. Dory. Okay, let's take it a little darker. Give her some shadows, some depth. And I love the idea of giving her sparkling blue sapphire eyes like Duchess from the Aristocats. Ayo. Now let's get to adding in some blacks, starting with her claws and her mouth. Mouths, plural. And she needs a touch of pink for her tongues and noses and ears. All right, I need to make something happen with this background. Let's give watercolor a shot. In my head, I'm gonna assume this creature lives in a cave. So we'll have it a little lighter brown in the foreground, you know, the entrance of said cave, and fade to black the further back you go. You see, she's very territorial, and that's why she looks so agitated. Something has clearly entered her cave, and now she's on the attack. And she couldn't call herself part dragon if she didn't breathe fire. For the record, it took far too long for me to get this to look like anything other than puke coming out of her mouth. I ended up taking a step back and switching gears for a minute. I added in a few colored pencil details and textures. And then for my favorite part, it's juicy highlight time. Back to more colored pencil, and eventually back to the fire. And this time, I think I got it to a place I was happy with. I don't know if it was the pressure of this collab or what, but I have never second-guessed myself so much and felt the need to keep going back in and adding more shadows and adding more details. Like, I really struggled to just stop and call it done. Once I was finally happy, I decided to write out the formula for my mythical creature so she can be understood without the context of my scattered-brained explanation. Dragon plus cat plus Cerberus. And that would make this creature a Dracaterus. And now I want to give this piece a little flavor by making the edges all ripped. I went to glue in the page and then was struck with a sudden realization. Like, I ripped the edges of the page, but my creature breathes fire. These edges should be burned. So that's what I did. I will now graciously accept the award for the dumbest, riskiest idea that yielded virtually no visual difference to the finished overall piece. Thank you. All in a day's work. And now I can glue the pages in. I love my mythical creature, the Dracaterus. I know I didn't give her a name, but if you know me, you know I'm terrible at that, so hey, maybe you guys can tell me. What do you think we should name this little lady? Something cute. Alrighty then. We've done the prompt that was chosen for me. Thank you, Paula. Now we can move on to the prompt that I have selected. Create fascination. Draw something that fascinates you. Now, I know I'm not alone on this one, but my inner 5-year-old always has been and always will be fascinated with dinosaurs. I love dinosaurs, dinosaur movies, dinosaur books, dinosaur documentaries, dinosaur exhibits at the museum. Like, I just can't get enough dinosaurs. A meme circulated a while back that said, my toxic trait is that if they open Jurassic Park, I would still totally go. And for me, yes, that is accurate. So I decided I would do a Jurassic Park inspired page with the fetal dinosaurs in the embryo tanks, like in the lab. I figured I'd draw my 4 favorite dinosaurs for this one. First is the Triceratops, which was basically a prehistoric cow with its horns and its grazing. In fact, when the first Triceratops fossil was found, they actually thought it was just a large ancestor to the bison. I also love the Stegosaurus. I think this one is more about looks than anything I know about its behavior. I love those spine plates. But you know, the Stegosaurus has actually been called the dumbest dinosaur because of the small size of its brain. They were the size of walnuts, and mind you, the dinosaurs themselves were the size of buses. Also love the Brachiosaurus. In case you hadn't noticed a theme, I seem to gravitate toward the gentle giants, the massive herbivores. The Brachiosaurus can be equated to prehistoric giraffes, and in fact, they say modern-day giraffes are genetically descended from the Brachiosaurus. So cool. And I'm kind of cheating with this one, but the Velociraptor. So I love the Jurassic Park portrayal of velociraptors. They were so badass. Now, obviously, science has since debunked a lot of what was in the movies. Like, in actuality, raptors had feathers. They had large brains for their size, but weren't like apex predator super smart or anything. And they were rarely pack hunters. But I grew up loving raptors because of the movies, and this being a Jurassic Park themed page, I just had to slip it in. All right, now to start adding in the lab tanks. Of course, have to add the big Jurassic Park sign to the top, and then I could start putting in all of those industrial lab elements. To this day, that scene with the abandoned lab that had the embryo tanks in Jurassic Park 3, instant heebie-jeebies. Now all of these specimens need those wires for like the monitors all over. Yeah, okay, now I think we're ready for some color on this one. I used my watercolors and made a useless attempt at taping off the tank on this one. I started with orange for the Triceratops tank. See, that worked so well. But next I used a yellow for the Stegosaurus, and then a nice limey green for the Brachiosaurus, followed by a pretty little teal for my raptor. See what I'm doing here? Gotta love a good old analogous color scheme. Originally, I had planned on using a dark, dingy kind of formaldehyde-esque color for all of the tanks, But alongside the gray of this steel, I don't know. It just would have had so little visual impact. And I gotta say, I think going with the bright colors, that was the right way to go. And once the base colors were done, it was time to go in with some shadows. Let's give this baby some depth. Also, I wanted to add some little bubbles in each of the tanks. Now for this next part, I switched over to alcohol markers and added a bunch of markings and definition and texture to those dino fetuses. And of course, more shadows to the lab background. Colored all of those monitor wires black, but man, that was too intense, so I switched over to a gray instead. I think that's much better. All right, and now for even more details with some colored pencils this time. Things are looking pretty good now. I decided to finish off with a whole goo gob of juicy highlights to really set it off. Loving that. Now to glue my pages into the book. And this little baby on the prompt is just so cute, but let's be real, he just doesn't go. There's a little something for the T-Rex enthusiasts. I just love everything about this page. Like, dinosaurs will forever be a huge source of fascination for me. And I'm just so glad I got to add them into this book. Okay, this feels weird. Normally my Create This Book videos have like 4 prompts, but let's look back at the 2 that we added to this book. First, we created a mythical creature, the Dracaterus, a combination of dragon, cat, and Cerberus. This little lady is ferocious and I freaking love her. So fun to make. Big thanks to Paula for picking this one out for me. And we created Fascination with this Jurassic Park laboratory inspired page of my favorite dinosaurs, the creatures that have fascinated me since I was a little baby child and still do to this day. I love this page too, so good job to me for picking it. And those were the 2 prompts I got to add to this amazing book. I had so much fun with these prompts, and I feel so fortunate and honored to be a part of this collaboration. But alas, it's time for me to pass the book along. Goodbye, my darling. I'll be sending this book northwest, up to Idaho, where Kara of Anchored Art Designs will be waiting. She's one of my favorite YouTubers. She has a binge-worthy collection of Create This Book videos, and even her own shop. Again, links to her channel are gonna be in the description. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like everybody kind of has like that one YouTuber that like the voice is so soothing, so calming. That's Anchored Art Designs for me. I have fallen asleep to her voice many a night. She's probably just finding out about that. Hope that's not weird for you, Kara. But all right, time to go. Here you go, Kara.
Got it. Thanks, Ashleigh.
So before you go, you can subscribe to my channel here. I upload some pretty awesome Create This Book videos every single week. And Aussie Crafters playlist for this collab is right here. Just go ahead, add it to your library. You won't even have to think about it and you won't miss any videos that come up as this book continues to travel. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.